Hey guys, GameBoy30 here once again. We're back in Beam, and today just a small progress update for version 9 point whatever versions of my packs, some fixes, some things that weren't included in the last update because of missing textures or whatever, and texture updates again because last update a lot of textures seemed to broke for no reason. They were working fine, but then the Beam update happened and seemed to kill everything. So yeah. Gonna start things off with good old black magic. Just for a quick run here. On a pretty new map here, Detroit 2023. Pretty sure this is, right? Maybe. I do like this map for its very loose surface. Means you can get a good dig and a drift at a pretty low RPM, even with the manual with clutch gearbox. That was interesting. This is just the regular truck of mine, so it's not going to be the focus of the video, just something to start us off here. Alright, you go over there. Next up we have the General Lee truck, and in teaser pictures and maybe a video, I forget, I showcase the front Hemi engine with the big supercharger poking out of the hood. But it wasn't included because I couldn't get the textures to work. But now with the new method that I found I could do in Blender, everything seems to be working just fine. It is a 605 cubic inch Hemi, 2100 horsepower from standard. It's very vermy. You can make it rev super high in tuning. And it wasn't included before because it would just spawn as either white or no material. But that has now been resolved. So this engine will be included in specialized add-ons. And whenever you choose the front engine placement, this engine will spawn as standard. If you have front engines pack installed, you will still get access to the 555 cubic inch Hemi that's already available up front. But now the intake cutout hood option makes sense because before there wasn't anything that would poke out the hood. This engine does also come naturally aspirated with a erase individual throttle body situation. It makes about 1600 horsepower from standard. So it's pretty cool like that. But the supercharger, of course, everyone loves that. Let's go ahead and get a view of this inside the hood here. The track is a bit deadly with that jump there, just kind of... it just kind of lands you right there in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, we got chrome valve covers, chrome exhaust, chrome supercharger. Something funny is going on with the intake throttle. Seems to be slightly misaligned. Maybe I'll fix that, maybe I won't. Maybe it's a bit of the charm. Boing. There we go, now we can see the engine and better glory there. Or at least more of it there. Got the chrome headers, chrome valve covers. And yeah, I don't know what the supercharger is doing. It's just having a good day, you know? Next up, Poverty Truck is back. It's the most jank setup I've ever made, but it does have a new engine option and specialized add-ons. This is the Detroit Diesel 8V92 740 cubic inch V8 with a custom twin turbo setup, hot dumping right into a supercharger. Takes a second to start. It has no brakes, can barely turn, and taking a jump with this suspension setup is a bit weird. Boing. Because the brakes are so bad, it does have the Jake brake functionality added to it. And the Jake brake is that clicking thing you were hearing. So it can help slow you down because the brakes are just that bad. Boing. So yeah, Poverty Truck, super jank. And the lore behind the paint is just silly. If you've ever heard of it, probably haven't. But yeah, look at this engine. It's just insane. 1100 horsepower, about 3,000 foot-pounds of torque is nothing to scoff at. I think you can go even higher with tuning. I haven't tried that yet. So yeah, we got way too much power in a truck with no handling at all. Boing. In fact, you're going to stay right there. That's a perfect end for Poverty Truck right there. The Detroit Diesel. And the 500 cubic inch Gavel V8 have been moved to a common folder. What does this let you do? Well, with little effort, we can just use that same exact model and put it into other frames. So here I have it in PEI, but it can just as easily go into CRC. It could just as easily go into someone's custom chassis like Squid's SIC chassis. And that'll help you save space. It'll help you save coding, because as long as you don't need to move the engine too much, the same coding will work for any chassis. And I did this one to see if it would help solve texture problems. It didn't, but more on that on the next truck. I just threw this engine in here. I didn't tune the gearing at all, so that's why it's a bit sus. But it still looks good. RIP XDP. And the last truck here, Poverty Magic. I'm going to try to see if that same technique will work in fixing the textures on the Gavel V8s, as well as, you know, any of the older engine mods I've done that were from SketchUp originally, with their weird coloring things. To do the same fix I did to get the textures to work on the Hemi here, to be applied to any engine with the funny texture problems going on. But yeah, Poverty Magic, this is a junkyard turbo engine. It's hilarious. Makes some neat turbo sounds, but it is very slow. Speaking of very slow, that was a neat save. And then go ahead, continue to use Poverty Magic here. If we go down to the engine, I have a new option The 400 cubic inch gravel V8, parentheses, poverty. Oh no, what could this be? Well, it's going to be cheese because, like I said, I haven't done that fix to the textures yet. However, you can imagine just by looking at it that it's quite the sight to behold. Let's fix the engine power. And there we go. What is this? It's a junkyard V8. Runs very smoky. Has upturned headers. Naturally aspirated. Can only go to 6,000 RPM. And just to give us the best chance of driving at all, I'm going to do this. Even all the way maxed out with the revs, it only goes to 400 horsepower. Look how smoky it is. It runs a little bit rich. I think they just threw methanol fuel into it and hoped it would work without doing any further tuning. It's also not quite that fast. There is one more thing we can do with this engine, though, just to make it truly jank. Without going too expensive in parts, we can make this thing maybe a little bit faster. If we go to the nitrous injection, oh yes, we got nitrous. What can we boost the horsepower up to without making it explode? Got an extra big bottle, 40 pounds. And I don't know, this seems like a good starting point midway. We'll see if that'll let us drive or if it'll just immediately explode. I honestly have no idea. 700 horsepower. 1400 torque, but that's just for a second at 2000 RPM. It goes way down as soon as you do any revs. It does now feel like we have a little bit of power. We are at risk of exploding though, so you have to watch out. Oh, there it goes. Maybe with a looser torque converter, you could get it to work better. With a 3-speed maybe. You could get a bit more speed. However, that's going to be it for Poverty Magic. And the cheese engine will be fixed. I know how to do that now. I have a lot of engines though, so doing all that will take time. Just doing this one engine took me like a whole weekend. So, you know, give a whole weekend per engine. That's like weeks away from all the engines being done. However, all the other features, like the comments folder being utilized for the Detroit Diesel, and this Hemi engine are almost ready to come out. I still got to figure out what's going on with the engine props just saying no you. But otherwise, the Charger engine ready to go. Yeah, I did also fix the normal of the Charger hood, so it no longer has a weird little spike right about in the middle of the screen there. And that's about it. More things to work on. There's a new community event idea going around. If you're up for that, can leave a like, favorite, comment, share, and of course don't forget to subscribe as well. Thanks, Gamboya. I'll see you all in the future.